What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Wait, no. Force a habit, guys. Force a habit. Welcome back, guys, for my Week 3 NFL picks against the spread. I've had a lot of fun doing this with you guys. I like hanging out in the live chat as you guys get to talk about my picks. You guys give me your picks. And before I get started, I want to say congratulations. I hope I pronounced this right, to Dylan McFall or McPhail. He was able to pick 12 picks against the spread last week. 12 out of 16. He was able to win the contest. He had the most picks right against the spread. And I said last week I was going to be giving away a fitted hat. So, Dylan, do me a favor. At the end of this video, in the comments below, post your email, and I'll definitely have that out to you as soon as possible. So thank you for participating, and thank you for being a great subscriber. So far on the year against the spread in 2 weeks, I am a combined, I am 18 and 13. I went 10 and 5 the first week. This week, not so much. I went 8 and 8. I was hoping to do a lot better. I always try to get you guys at least a winning record. I strive for at least 10 wins. I was 8 and 8. Not bad against the spread. You know, 500 is decent, but obviously I want to do a lot better. And hopefully this week I pick some winners. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of tough games on the docket. We're going to start, of course, with the Thursday night contest. And I thought when I saw this matchup when the year started, I was like, what? Like, what? Who's going to watch this game? And I'm looking at the game now. Jacksonville, Miami. Who's going to watch this game? No, I'm just kidding with you guys. If you're Jaguars or Miami fans, actually, both your teams have played better than I thought they would. Even though Miami's 0-2, they've played some teams pretty tough, that being the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. The Jaguars coming into this game as 3-point favorites, and obviously it's been Minshew mania. Gardner Minshew is working and fighting to keep his job atop the roster for the Jacksonville Jaguars as the quarterback. Stormed onto the scene last year, in which you could have argued he should have won Rookie of the Year, and he's been fantastic so far for that Jacksonville team. A team a lot of us thought for sure was getting the number one pick, and they still might, but they have played tough. They beat Indianapolis week 1 in an absolute shocker. And then last week, they narrowly lost to the Tennessee Titans. They lost by a field goal. I think it was 33-30. Now they're home. Miami's coming in. Traditionally, the team on Thursday Night Football that is home has an even bigger advantage. Jacksonville's 1-1. But I'm looking at this Miami team. They're coming in at 0-2. They're getting 3 points. Like I said last week, they played who I think is one of the top 6, 7, 8 teams in the sport, the Buffalo Bills. They only lost by 3 points. Now they're on the road, but this isn't really a big road game. There's not going to be fans there that I know of. I don't think fans are going to be in the stands, and if they are, it won't be full capacity. And you're not traveling much. I mean, it's in the state of Florida. So with all that said, on paper, even with Byron Jones being out, and that is a big factor, and Miami has not been able to stop the run. I think the Patriots ran for over 200 yards against them. Of course, Cam Newton had a lot to do with that. I just think Miami's a better team, and they're getting 3 points. I'm still not fully bought into Jacksonville. I don't know why. Maybe I got to wake up, smell the coffee, and maybe this week it'll finally do it. Maybe Jacksonville blows them out on Thursday night, and if they do that, well, then I'll fully buy in. But the fact that Miami's getting 3 points, the fact that I think they desperately need a win, I think they keep this close, and I think they at least get a push. I'm going to take Miami getting 3. I'm not super confident they're going to win the game, but I think they keep it very close and could definitely win it. I view it as almost a coin flip type game. So give me the Miami Dolphins to get their first win and get to 1-2. Next up, we've got the New England Patriots taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. This game will be played in New England. Now, of course, this past week, the Las Vegas Raiders pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the week, and I talked to a number of my subscribers going into that game. And a lot of them in my Discord were saying, watch out for the Raiders. They're my upset pick this week. The Raiders, of course, had their home opener, first game they ever played in Vegas, and they looked fantastic. One thing I knew about this team going into the year, the offensive line was legit. They have a great offensive line. They got an old school football coach with John Gruden that wants to pound the rock, and he did it in that backfield. Josh Jacobs got a lot of carries. They moved the ball on the ground, and you love to see it, and they were efficient, and Carr looked good doing it. Waller, the tight end, is ridiculous. This guy is an athletic freak, and he's a big mismatch in this game. Something that I'm definitely going to have my eyes on if I do have an opportunity to watch the highlights of this game between New England and the Raiders. But I do think they're going to use him a lot in this football game. New England has a lot of guys missing from that defense from last year, but they've been able to get the job done. And we'll see how this offensive line, Derek Carr, orchestrates the offense against the New England Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 6. New England last week impressed me a lot. The first week I wasn't fully bought in, even though I still thought this was at least an 8-win team. They beat Miami 21-11. Last week they lost, but they lost to Seattle in Seattle, and they lost by a yard. Yeah, the final score says 5 points, but Cam Newton was a yard away from putting that game on ice. They couldn't get the ball in at the end of the day, but they went to Seattle, a team that a lot of people feel are a favorite to go to the Super Bowl. out of the NFC, and they played them toe-to-toe. Julian Edelman has been fantastic so far. Cam Newton has turned back the clock, as you knew he would. Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels get the most out of their players, and I expect that to continue. The New England Patriots are for real. They're favored by 6 here, though, and I think a lot of people are buying into the Raiders' hype, as they should. They're 2-0. But they're on the road. They're going to New England. New England coming off a loss. I think this is a statement game for the New England Patriots. I think they come out, they cement themselves as being a real football team this week. I definitely think they're winning. I'm not super confident that they cover the spread, but give me the Patriots to win by 7 and narrowly cover that 6 points. Next up, we've got the Buffalo Bills taking on the LA Rams, this game in Buffalo. Both teams coming in at 2-0, and Buffalo was a team I really liked going into the year, was a team I really liked going into last year. Love the defense, love the additions to that team. Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, I think he leads the league in passing yards. Josh Allen, he's got like a 70% completion percentage. Granted, he did play the Dolphins and the Jets. This is his first real test against the LA Rams. The LA Rams also coming in at 2-0, so some of the lone unbeaten teams in the NFL going head-to-head. The Rams, of course, have picked on the teams from within the NFC East. They beat the Cowboys, they beat the Eagles, they beat the hell out of the Eagles. And the LA Rams have put the league on notice. Jared Goff looks phenomenal last week. I think he had 144 QB rating. And the one thing I love about this Rams team so far, they've run the ball 79 times in 2 games. Are they going to be able to do that against this Bills defense, though? That's what you got to ask yourself. But the way Goff's looked and the efficient offense that they've been running, the Bills coming in favored by 2.5. And I've said I like the Bills. But the Bills last week, You know what I'm saying? Miami almost beat them. The Rams have looked really good. I don't know if the Rams win, and 2.5, it's almost a pick 'em, but I think the Rams have a legitimate chance to win this game. And the fact they're getting 2.5, I'm buying into the Rams. I'm buying into McVay. Give me the 2.5 points. Give me the Rams to at least cover and have a fair opportunity to win that football game. I think it's going to be a great game, one of the best games of the day. Next game up, we've got the Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh favored by 4. Pittsburgh last week disappointed me. They won. I thought they'd beat Denver by more. They beat the Giants handily. They got a great defense. Ben's looked pretty good, at least in the game he played against the New York Giants. And Juju Smith-Schuster is terrific. They've got some weapons on the offense. The defense, I have no doubts, is legit. Now, Houston is a tough team to gauge. Tough team to gauge because so far they've played the best teams the sport has to offer. Yes, they're 0-2. Yes, they've been beaten up, but, most teams are going to get beaten up against those 2 teams. Now they take on the Steelers, another really tough opponent. And they're going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favored by 4. Like I said, last week, Pittsburgh disappointed me. Denver kept that close. I think Houston's going to fight in this game. I do. I got Pittsburgh going to win. I think Houston keeps it within 4, though. I think Houston's going to fight in this game. I think they keep it close. Give me the Texans. Give me the Steelers to cover. I got something like a 21-20, maybe a 23-20 type game. I like Pittsburgh to win, but I like Houston to cover. Close game, though. Next up, we got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the New York Giants. And from what I've read, and the Niners coming in as a 4-point favorite on the road. Originally, this was a 7-point line. I've seen it as low as 3.5. It's starting to dip for obvious reasons. Of course, the New York Giants sustained a ton of injuries last week. Shepard, Barkley, but the Niners, they're missing Solomon Thomas, Bosa. Dee Ford, I believe, is out for this game. Richard Sherman's out for this game. Mostert's out for this game. And from what I read, Jimmy Garoppolo is almost certainly going to be out for this game. They're missing arguably 6 of their top 7, 8, 9, 10 players on the roster. Giants got a chance to win this football game. Make no mistake about it. It's at home. Now, the Niners did play here last week, so there's no traveling involved. I believe they stayed there. They played the Jets last week in the same stadium. They've been complaining about the turf. We played Nick Mullins. We played Nick Mullins 2 years ago. We beat him. The Giants, to me, showed a lot of fight in the second half of that football game against the Chicago Bears. The biggest key to this game for the New York Giants is simple. The Niners have a great ground attack. I don't care if Mostert's playing. I don't care if he's not. Kyle Shanahan is a phenomenal mind. He's a phenomenal offensive mind with the pre-snap motion with that running offense. Now, they're definitely not as big of a threat in the passing game. The Giants have struggled in third down conversion rate. Teams are converting 55% of the time against the New York Giants. It's the second worst in the entire NFL. As good as our defense has looked, we've only given up the 4th least yardage in the league. That's great. That's phenomenal. But we got to get off the field in third down. Nick Mullins is in there in quarterback. If we can get them in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, I expect the New York Giants to be much more successful than they've been the first 2 weeks. Giants got to get pressure. They got to have good coverage. You're giving me 4 points. The Giants are at home with all these players missing for the Niners. Obviously, if they're at full strength, I'm taking the Niners. But with all the injuries, I'm buying into it. Give me the Giants to cover that 4 points. I'm taking the Giants here, getting 4. Next up, we've got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Tennessee Titans. Minnesota, for lack of a better word, has looked horrible. This game is in Minnesota. Minnesota is getting 2.5 at home. going up against the Tennessee Titans, who are coming in at 2-0, but it's a weak 2-0. I think they beat the Broncos by 2 on a last-second field goal. They beat the Jaguars by 3. They haven't been world beaters, but Minnesota has looked awful. Just bad. They got beat up against the Colts by 17. They lost to the Packers by about the same. I said it all year, that secondary scares me. They don't have a player in that secondary over the age of 23. Kirk Cousins has been horrible. Tennessee's got a good defense, and I know Minnesota's at home, and I kind of want to buy into them as being a team that could get back into it. But Tennessee, to me, they're a lucky 2-0, but I still think they're a good team. I picked them to win the AFC South before the year started, and I think they're going to start to get it going sooner than later, and I think it starts this week. I like Tennessee, even though they're on the road to win by more than 2.5 points. Give me the Titans. Next up, Washington versus the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns got blown out first week. They lost, I think it was 38-6 against the Baltimore Ravens. Washington looked great week 1 with that phenomenal pass rush. They had 8 sacks. Last week, they didn't play so hot against the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray rushed for, I think, 70 yards. They moved the ball on him. They lost 30-15. The defense didn't look that well. Haskins still hasn't turned the ball over, at least through the air. I'm not sure if he's fumbled. I think he's got 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But he missed a lot of high throws in that game. Didn't look so accurate. The offense is not that good. Could they move the ball a bit against Cleveland? I suppose, but it's not like Arizona's defense is that good either. Washington only put up 15 points. The Washington offense is going to continue to struggle. If they're going to win games, it's going to be on the defense. But here's what I'll say. Cleveland is favored by 7 points in this game. 7 points. They were home last week against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. They only won by 5. Granted, the Bengals got a backdoor cover. They got a couple of garbage time points in that game. Cleveland handled it pretty well, but I do think that Washington's defense is going to get pressure on Baker. I really do, and Baker's prone to making turnovers. I could see Washington keeping this game close, and it's why I'm going to take the Washington football team to cover the 7 points. I think Cleveland wins. I think they get to 2-1, but I think Washington keeps this close. I think they get pressure on Baker Mayfield. I think they force a few picks. I just don't believe in this Washington offense to put up enough points. Give me Cleveland to win. Give me Washington to cover. Next up, you've got the Eagles taking on the Bengals. The Eagles are 0-2, and I love saying that. Don't you Giants fans, don't you love saying that? Now, this game is at the link. Eagles favored by 6, I believe it is. They're favored by 6 against the Bengals. Bengals still got a rookie quarterback. Burrow looked pretty good last week, even though he threw 7,000 passes. He did keep his team relatively close in that football game, and Burrow's legit. Burrow's definitely got some offensive weapons. They're an improved football team. You could see it. But I still think they struggle. I still think they struggle, and the Eagles need this game so bad. Carson Wentz is getting killed in the media. He's off to the worst start of his career. I think the Eagles need this game. I think they come out focused. Now, Jalen Reagor, from what I read, may miss the game. Miles Sanders is back, though. The offensive line's still not that good, but I don't believe in this Cincinnati defense. I think the Eagles will be able to put up points. I think they move the ball. I think they force some turnovers on the young quarterback with Burrow. Give me the Eagles, and give me the Eagles to cover. I think the Eagles make a little bit of a statement here. I think they get to 1-2. I think they beat the Bengals by at least 10 points. Give me the Eagles. But so far, guys, looking over these spreads, I'm not in love with many of these games. There's a couple, but I'm not in love with a lot of them. Next up, we've got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Chicago Bears. Atlanta's at home. They're favored by 3. Atlanta's coming in at 0-2. The Bears coming in at 2-0. Bears had a great come-from-behind victory week 1 against the Lions. They beat the Giants last week, but they threw a dud out there. Second half of that football game. The Falcons, in typical Atlanta Falcons fashion, were blowing out the Dallas Cowboys. Absolutely blowing them out. And they blew that game. They were up by like 21 points, I think. And they blew the game. Obviously, the onside kick, everything else. They allowed Dallas to win 40-39. Atlanta's offense is ridiculous, but their defense couldn't stop me. So I think Trubisky could have a good game. I think Trubisky can move the ball. And Chicago's got a good defense. But at home on the turf, I think Atlanta puts up points. I don't fully believe in Chicago yet. I don't believe in that offense. They were a horrible All right, I look at the Chicago Bears. They've been a very good football team for 3 quarters, and they've been maybe the worst team in football for 5. That's the way I look at the Chicago Bears. Against the Giants, they got shut out. They lost 13-0 in the second half. Against the Lions, I think they lost by like 20 points over the first 3 quarters or whatever it was. They've been a very good football team for 3 quarters. I don't believe in the Lions. They haven't given me a full football game yet. I don't believe in Atlanta either, but I think Atlanta's going to put up points. They're at home. Give me Atlanta to win by 7. They're favored by 3. Give me Atlanta by 7. I'm not buying into the records. Next up, we've got the New York Jets versus the Indianapolis Colts, and I've picked against the Jets 2 weeks in a row, and the spread continues to get higher. I've won the first 2 picks. Not trying to pick on the Jets. They have a ton of injuries. The offensive line, Becton's look good. Becton's look good for that football team. But without their playmakers on defense, now the Colts lost to the Jaguars, so anything could happen. This game is in Indianapolis. The Colts looked like they started to rebound last week by beating up on the Minnesota Vikings. Jonathan Taylor is a playmaker. Guy's a playmaker. I'm going to give a shout out to Cox. He's been telling me about him all offseason. The guy runs like a 4.3, whatever, 40. He's a playmaker. Behind that offensive line, I expect to continue to see him make plays. Rivers starting to get things going. I like the Colts. I like the Colts big. Sorry, Jet fans. I got the Colts covering by 14. Next up, Carolina taking on the LA Chargers. Chargers, Justin Herbert. Where'd this come from? Chargers coming in as a 6.5-point favorite at home. Carolina's been a team I've said all offseason, I don't believe in them. I don't believe in them. Teddy Bridgewater, I know they got weapons on offense. I don't believe in them. Derek Browns look bad. I don't believe in the defense. They lose Luke Kuechly. This game's in LA. You're traveling across the country. Herbert's got some momentum. Now, it seems as if he's going to start, even though Lynn came out and said Taylor may be starting. Supposedly, they punctured his lung or something like that. I don't know, some crazy story. But if Herbert plays the way he looked, now what I'll say is this. It was only one start. Teams will have some book on them, but Carolina's defense ain't that good. Give me the Chargers. Give me the Chargers to cover. I got the Chargers by 10. Think that defense is able to hold that Carolina offense enough, and I think the Chargers put up enough points. I think they're starting to turn the corner a bit. Almost upset the Chiefs last week. Next up, we've got the Detroit Lions taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona favored by 5.5. And I'll tell you what, man. I'll admit when I'm wrong. And there's going to be times when I'm wrong. And I was wrong. Let me just clear that on my phone. And I was wrong about the Arizona Cardinals, at least so far. I mean, they've looked phenomenal. And I've been wrong about the Detroit Lions. I thought they'd be a somewhat competitive team. And it seems that, since they've blown that lead week 1, I had a feeling they were going to get blown out against the Packers. This is my favorite game on the docket. Favorite game. I'm looking at the spread. I'm saying to myself, what? I don't see how Detroit loses this game by less than 7. I think Arizona's going to win by at least a touchdown. They're favored by 5.5, and they're at home. You got Detroit traveling across the country. Give me Arizona with the 5.5. Kyler Murray's looked great. He's got a great weapon there in Hopkins. Yeah, guys, I'm buying into Arizona, at least as being a solid football team. And Detroit lost last week. They lost by 21 against the Packers. Cardinals are going to blow them out. This spread makes no sense. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks taking on the Denver Broncos. Denver getting 6 at home. They're getting 6. Now, I think Drew Lock's out for this game. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. I think Drew Lock's out for this game. Denver, you got the mile high altitude. They're favored by 6. They need a win. They're 0-2. Tampa's starting to turn the corner a little bit. They blew out their opponent last week. They are 1-1. Maybe Brady's starting to get things going with the offense. I thought it would take a couple of weeks. I don't believe in Denver, especially after Von Miller went down. They've had injuries. I think they've had injuries in the receiving corps as well, if I'm not mistaken. I just think the Bucs are a better football team. I thought Denver was overrated from the start this season. I'm going to continue to say it. I don't care that they're favored by 6. I don't care about the altitude. I'm going to take the Bucs to win that game by at least a touchdown. Next up, Dallas at Seattle. I already told you guys my favorite game. This is my second favorite game. Cowboy fans may not want to hear it. Your team doesn't look good. You should be 0-2, if you're being honest with yourselves. Should be 0-2. Now, Seattle could easily be 1-1, but they played New England. They're home. They're in Seattle. I said it week 1. I'm going to continue to say it. Every time Dallas plays a good road team, I'm not picking them. Now, maybe they keep it close. It's a 5-point spread. I don't think they do. I think Seattle's going to beat them pretty bad. Dallas in their last now 9 road games have beaten the New York Giants, the Washington football team, and the Detroit Lions without Matt Stafford, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th picks in last year's draft. They lost to the Jets on the road. They lost to the Bears on the road. And this year they've lost to the Rams on the road. I think they're going to lose to the Seahawks on the road. Seahawks are by far the best out of any team they've played on the road. Seattle notoriously is a very tough place to play. I know there's no fans there. Russell Wilson looks fantastic. He threw 5 touchdowns last week. This Cowboys secondary looks lost. They had another injury to it. Seattle's going to blow them out. Seattle by at least 10. I don't care about the 5. Seattle's going to blow them out. Dallas drops to 1-2. Next up, we've got Green Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans favored by, I see it about 3, is from what I'm seeing. New Orleans favored by 3. At home, Superdome, where they notoriously play much better, and they need a bounce-back performance. They got embarrassed against the Oakland Raiders in Las Vegas. And like I said, they played better at home. They had a great opening day performance. And this is a great game, guys. This is a great game. One of my favorite games of the week. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and he looks every bit of it. this year. Every bit of it. The way he's played through 2 weeks. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, second year in the LaFleur offense, and it's really starting to show. Drew Brees, to me, doesn't look the way he used to be. He's a game manager. And I laughed at people coming into the year telling me that Drew Brees is a top 4 quarterback. Some people had Rodgers out of their top 7. How does that look now? Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees, in my opinion, is not still Drew Brees. And he hasn't been Drew Brees, in my opinion, for the last 2 or 3 years. And that's not a knock on Brees, but he's had a phenomenal team around him. I like the Packers. I like the Packers to win outright. Now, I don't love this game because New Orleans is at home. They're a very good team. They need the game. But the way the Packers have looked the first 2 weeks, granted, they haven't gone up against world beaters, but they've blown these teams out. I like the Packers. Give me the Packers to win that game. And then finally, the game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs going to Baltimore. Baltimore favored by 3.5. And Baltimore has been unbelievable so far. Kansas City almost lost last week. Now, opening week, Kansas City looked legit. I still think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is ridiculous. And if the Chiefs are going to lose a game on their schedule this year, this is the most logical one. It's why Baltimore's favored by 3.5 at home. Lamar Jackson is definitely a problem. You saw what Herbert did against this Kansas City Chiefs defense. You got to figure Lamar Jackson is going to be able to do some things against them. The key to this game for the Baltimore Ravens, if they're going to win, and there is not a team that matches up better against the Kansas City Chiefs because the only way to stop Pat Mahomes when he's on and that offense is clicking is a good ground game. You got to win the time of possession. You got to keep him off the field. And there is no team better equipped to do that than the Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens. They've got a very potent run game when you factor in the quarterback with Lamar Jackson, and they usually win the time of possession. And if the Ravens are going to win this game, they got to throw the first punch. They've got to get out to the lead. They've got to control the pace of this game. If they fall behind by 2 scores, it is lights out, game over. You can't count out the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't care who the defense is. I don't care how big the lead is. So no matter what, if I'm betting this game or picking this game or if I'm a fan of either team, I'm not going to feel super comfortable. The Ravens favored by 3.5. I like the Ravens to win. I like the Chiefs to cover. I got the Ravens by a field goal as they drop the Chiefs to 2-1, and the Ravens cement themselves as a true Super Bowl contender or potentially favorite coming out of the AFC. So that's the way I see it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Get your picks in, and here's what I'll say. If you guys pick a perfect week this week, I will give you guys a fitted ad. Otherwise, keep tuning in. I'll definitely give them out throughout the season. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck to your teams this week. And as always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop that comment. Give me 2 thumbs up. Give me 2 if you could. Get out of here. Cheers.